Okay, let's see how much Beatles trivia you know. Question. What was the most controversial Beatles album cover?
I would nominate the initial cover for the U.S. release, Yesterday and Today.
Yes, the infamous Butcher cover. Let's talk about it. So, today our mission is to figure out exactly how the biggest band on Earth went from, wearing those matching mop-top suits to literally draping themselves in raw meat and decapitated doll parts.
It is a wild transition, honestly. We want to explore that exact moment when their art violently collided with, well, corporate greed.
Exactly. And to set the stage for you, we have to talk about Capitol Records. Imagine a movie studio taking a carefully paced psychological thriller, cutting it up and releasing it as like 3 separate sitcom episodes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is a great way to put it.
Yeah, and that's essentially what Capitol was doing to the band's UK albums up until 1966. They held backtracks, slapped on filler, and stretched 2 albums into 3 or 4. I mean, they treated the finished art like a toddler handles a...
Like a jigsaw puzzle. They genuinely did. And the album Yesterday and Today was probably the most blatant Frankenstein monster yet.
All right, just a total mess.
Yeah, it was this complete hodgepodge pulled from Help, Rubber Soul, and the upcoming Revolver. But the band was finally waking up to their own power by this point. They were just so exhausted by being processed and sold to the public like, breakfast cereal.
But wait, I have to ask, why didn't their manager, Brian Epstein, just put his foot down? Wasn't it his job to protect their image and stop this impending collision?
You would certainly assume so, yeah. But his power was mostly concentrated in Britain. Capitol Records controlled the American market, and they operated this untouchable, profit-driven machinery,
I see.
Right, Epstein just didn't have the leverage to stop him over there.
So the band decides to retaliate visually. They bring in photographer Robert Whitaker for a photo shoot. And Whitaker had this conceptual piece he called Somnambulant Adventure.
Which, by the way, translates to a sleepwalking adventure.
Right. And it was meant to be this surreal, dreamlike commentary on the absurdity of fame.
Exactly. Whitaker wanted to shatter the illusion of these perfect, idolized pop stars. So he dresses them in white lab coats, hands them slabs of raw beef, and scatters broken plastic baby dolls everywhere.
It is just such a grotesque, literal statement, like you are treating us like manufactured commodities, literally meat on a hook.
Yeah, precisely.
What blows my mind, though, is that Capitol actually approved this for the Yesterday and Today sleeve. I mean, did nobody in quality control look at this and think, hey, maybe severed doll heads won't play well in Middle America?
Apparently not. They just blindly pressed and shipped around 750,000 copies in June 1966.
Wait, really? That many?
Yes. But the moment distributors and radio DJs actually opened the boxes, it was pure panic.
I can only imagine.
Oh yeah, the industry recoiled instantly. Capitol was forced into this massively expensive recall to try and hide the mistake.
And here is where record collecting gets tricky, so let's make sure we have the terminology straight for you. Capitol frantically printed a safe, boring replacement cover showing the band sitting around a steamer trunk.
Right, the famous trunk cover.
Yeah, and they paid workers to physically paste these new covers directly over the Butcher images. Those paste-overs are known as second state covers. The first state covers are the rare ones that escape the factory completely unpasted.
And if you find a paste-over and carefully peel back that steamer trunk, you get a third state cover.
But regardless of the state, these botched attempts at censorship created some of the most lucrative collector's items in vinyl history.
John Lennon probably laughed out loud at the irony of a protest against commercialism becoming a high-priced commodity.
He definitely would have appreciated the punchline. But looking at the timeline, you realize this wasn't just an artsy prank, It feels like a genuine breaking point for their careers. It truly was. Paul McCartney later compared its cultural shock value to the Vietnam War, which sounds extreme, but it signaled a massive cultural pivot.
Yeah, pop culture was starting to challenge its corporate overlords. This cover was basically their resignation letter as compliant, marketable teen idols.
And the proof is in what happened next. Just weeks after this provocation, they play their final commercial concert at Candlestick Park.
Right, they quit touring entirely.
Exactly. They lock themselves in the studio and demand total creative control to build Sgt. Pepper.
The Butcher cover was essentially the warning shot. They were telling the industry that the old rules were dead.
It leaves you with something really interesting to chew on. We look back at 1966 and think the industry was so rigid. But today, with streaming algorithms, corporate playlists, and AI-generated filler tracks dictating what we hear, well, Whitaker's concept of musicians as processed meat on a hook somehow hits even harder now than it did back then.
It is a really sobering thought to leave you with.
Well, thanks for joining us today. Whenever you feel like knowing more about the Beatles, visit us at BeatlesRewind.com. It's the Beatles, all day, every day, 8 days a week. Cass, we'll do it again tomorrow.
Yeah. I would not miss it for the world. Goodbye, everyone.
Until next time,
When you listen,
your mind conducts its own symphony.